Dr. Velthak adjusted his long blue fingers around the medical scanner as another boring day passed on Sanctuary Prime. The massive medical station floated quietly in space between three star systems. Ships came and went bringing patients from across the galaxy. Most cases were simple. A broken bone here, a fever there, nothing that challenged his centuries of medical training. The Alterian doctor stood nearly 8 feet tall with smooth blue skin and large black eyes. His people were known throughout the galaxy as the finest healers. They approached medicine with cold logic and perfect precision. Death was simply another equation to solve. The emergency alarm shattered the peaceful silence. Red lights flashed across the medical bay as the station's computer spoke in its calm mechanical voice. Emergency docking request from human cargo vessel designation Haven's Hope. Multiple casualties reported. Medical assistance required immediately. Dr. Velthak's assistant, Nurse Quilon, looked up from her workstation. The small green alien's antenna twitched with worry. Humans, Doctor. Should we prepare the isolation chambers? That will not be necessary, Dr. Velthak replied, though his voice carried less confidence than usual. He had treated humans before, but their reputation in the medical community was troubling. They refused to die when logic said they should. They pushed their bodies beyond all reasonable limits. Some doctors whispered that humans were more machine than biological creature. The damaged cargo ship limped toward the docking bay. Through the viewing window, Dr. Velthak could see hull damage along the entire left side. Scorch marks and twisted metal told the story of a recent battle or accident. How anyone survived in that wreckage was beyond his understanding. Doctor. Nurse Quilon's voice was tight with concern. The ship's medical readings are strange. 1. Life sign is barely registering but somehow still active. The other readings are unusual. Dr. Velthak studied the scanner results. According to the data, one human should have died hours ago. Blood pressure was dangerously low, brain activity was minimal, and multiple organs showed signs of failure, yet somehow the readings continued to register life. The cargo ship docked with a heavy thud that shook the entire medical station. Dr. Velthak gathered his medical team and headed toward the docking bay. His training told him to expect the worst. Humans were known to be remarkably difficult patients. The airlock door opened with a hiss of escaping atmosphere. What Dr. Velthak saw next would stay with him for the rest of his very long life. A human, male, emerged from the damaged ship. He was covered in blood, both his own and someone else's. His dark hair was matted with sweat and his clothes were torn. But his eyes burned with an intensity that made Dr. Velthak take an involuntary step. Backward. I am Li Huan, the human said in broken but understandable galactic standard. My captain needs help. He has been unconscious for 3 days. I have kept him alive, but I do not know how much longer I can manage. Dr. Velthak noticed that Li Huan's hands shook slightly, a sign of extreme exhaustion. Dark circles under his eyes suggested he had not slept in days. Yet he stood straight and alert, ready to fight anyone who tried to stop him from helping his captain. Please bring your captain to our medical bay, Dr. Velthak said. We have the finest equipment in this sector. Li Huan disappeared back into the ship. He returned moments later carrying another human over his shoulder. Captain Park Jiho was unconscious and barely breathing. His skin was pale gray and his body was limp as death. Dr. Velthak's medical scanners immediately began analyzing the captain's condition. What he saw defied all logic. The human had suffered massive internal bleeding, severe head trauma, and what appeared to be complete kidney failure. By every medical standard Dr. Velthak knew, this patient should have died days ago. How is he? Still alive? Dr. Velthak asked as they rushed toward the medical bay. Li Huan's jaw was set in a hard line. I would not let him die. The simple statement sent a chill through Dr. Velthak's spine. There was something in the human's voice that spoke of absolute determination. This was not hope or wishful thinking. This was a declaration of war against death itself. In the medical bay, Dr. Velthak began his examination. Captain Park Jiho's injuries were far worse than the initial scans had shown. 3 broken ribs, internal bleeding in multiple locations, and brain swelling that should have killed him within hours. What treatment have you given him? Dr. Velthak asked as he worked. Li Huan stood beside the medical table, his eyes never leaving his captain's face. I stopped the bleeding with pressure bandages made from torn clothing. I gave him fluids through a tube I made from ship parts. I kept his airway clear and monitored his breathing every few minutes for 72 hours. Dr. Velthak paused in his work. You have not slept in 3 days? Sleep is not important. My captain needed me awake. The Alterian doctor had seen many examples of loyalty and dedication in his long career, but nothing like this. Li Huan had literally kept another being alive through pure willpower and refusal to give up. He had turned himself into a medical machine, monitoring and adjusting his patient's condition around the clock without rest. As Dr. Velthak worked to stabilize Captain Park Ji-ho, he noticed something that disturbed him greatly. The captain's body was fighting the injuries with incredible intensity. His immune system was attacking the damaged tissue so aggressively that it was actually preventing proper healing. The human body seemed to be at war with itself, refusing to accept the damage but also unable to properly repair it. This is not normal biology, Dr. Velthak muttered to himself. Li Huan heard him. Normal does not matter. My captain will live, because I will make him live. Dr. Velthak looked into the human's eyes and saw something that frightened him more than any disease or injury he had ever encountered. He saw the eyes of a predator that had chosen death as its prey. Li Huan was not hoping his captain would survive. He was hunting down every threat to his captain's life with the same intensity his ancestors had once used to hunt wild animals across ancient Earth. The medical bay filled with tension as other alien staff members began to whisper among themselves. Word was spreading through the station that humans had arrived, and everyone knew what that meant. The galaxy's most feared species was among them, and they were doing what humans did best. They were refusing to surrender. Dr. Velthak worked through the night trying to understand Captain Park Ji-ho's condition. Every few minutes he checked his medical readings, hoping to see some improvement. Instead, he found something that challenged everything he knew about biology and medicine. The human captain should have died 6 hours ago. His blood pressure had dropped to levels that would kill any known species instantly. His brain showed signs of severe swelling that should have shut down all higher functions. 3 of his major organs had completely stopped working. Yet somehow, Park Ji-ho continued to breathe. This is impossible, Dr. Velthak whispered to his assistant. Nurse Quilon nodded nervously as she monitored the life support systems. Doctor, his immune system readings are unlike anything in our medical database, she reported. It appears to be attacking the injuries with such force that it is preventing natural healing processes. Dr. Velthak studied the cellular activity scans. What he saw made his blue skin turn even paler. The captain's white blood cells were not just fighting infection. They were launching an all-out war against death itself. The immune system was refusing to allow the body to shut down, even when shutdown would be the merciful option. Li Huan had not moved from beside the medical table. He stood like a statue, watching every breath his captain took. His own body was clearly failing from exhaustion, but his eyes remained sharp and alert. Dr. Velthak noticed that the human medic was checking the monitors more frequently than the automated systems. You need rest, Dr. Velthak told Li Huan. We have the situation under control. Li Huan turned his head slowly to look at the alien doctor. No, you do not understand humans. I will stay. Your body is shutting down from lack of sleep. You are no use to your captain in this condition. My captain has never abandoned me. I will not abandon him. The simple statement carried such weight that Dr. Velthak felt something he had never experienced in his long medical career. Fear. Not fear of the patient's condition or the complexity of the case. Fear of the predatory determination in Li Huan's voice. Hours passed. Dr. Velthak tried every advanced treatment in his arsenal: synthetic blood to replace what was lost, drugs to reduce brain swelling, machines to support failing organs. Nothing seemed to work according to normal medical principles. Then something strange began to happen. Captain Park Ji-ho's vital signs started to stabilize, but not because of the medical treatment. His body was responding to something else entirely. Dr. Velthak watched in amazement as the captain's breathing became stronger whenever Li Huan spoke to him. "Captain, the supply run to Kepler Colony depends on you," Li Huan said quietly. 5,000 people are waiting for the medicine we carry. They need you to wake up." The heart monitor showed a slight increase in rhythm. "The crew needs their leader. I need my friend." Another improvement in brain activity. Dr. Velthak realized he was witnessing something that no medical textbook had ever described. The dying human was responding not to chemical treatment, but to the voice of his packmate. Li Huan was literally calling his captain back from death through sheer force of will and loyalty. How is this possible? Dr. Velthak asked himself. Nurse Quilan had been monitoring the station's computer systems. She approached the doctor with a worried expression. "Doctor, I have been researching human medical records in our database. What I found is disturbing." She handed him a data pad filled with case studies. Dr. Velthak read through report after report of impossible human recoveries. Soldiers who survived wounds that should have killed them instantly. Civilians who lived through diseases that had 100% mortality rates in other species. Parents who fought off death for days to protect their children. "Look at the survival statistics." Nurse Quilan pointed to a chart. "Humans have the highest recovery rate from terminal conditions of any known species. Not by a small margin, doctor. By an enormous difference." Dr. Velthak studied the numbers. Humans survived fatal conditions at a rate nearly 10 times higher than the galactic average. They recovered from injuries that killed other species within hours. Most disturbing of all, their survival rate increased dramatically when other humans were present to encourage them. "They hunt death," Dr. Velthak said quietly, "like predators hunting prey." "Doctor, there is more." Nurse Quilan's antenna twitched nervously. "I found military reports about human combat effectiveness. When humans believe their packmates are in danger, their physical capabilities increase beyond normal biological limits. Heart rate, strength, pain tolerance, reaction time, everything improves when they are protecting others." Dr. Velthak looked back at Li Huan, who continued his quiet vigil beside Captain Park Jiho. The human medic had been awake for nearly 4 days now, yet he showed no signs of giving up. His body should have collapsed hours ago, but something was keeping him alert and functional. He is hunting death, Dr. Velthak realized. He has identified death as a threat to his packmate, and he is stalking it like prey. The thought sent a chill through his entire body. Dr. Velthak had always believed that death was the ultimate predator in the universe. It was patient, inevitable, and always victorious in the end. Every species he had ever treated understood this basic truth, except humans. Humans had turned the natural order upside down. They had made death into the prey and themselves into the hunters. They stalked death with the same relentless determination their ancestors had used to hunt mammoth across frozen continents. As if sensing the doctor's thoughts, Li Huan spoke, without taking his eyes off his captain. "In human culture we have a saying, death comes for everyone, but it has to catch us first." Dr. Velthak shuddered. He was beginning to understand why humans were whispered about in fearful tones throughout the galaxy. They were not just another intelligent species. They were apex persistence predators who had chosen death itself as their primary prey. Captain Park Jiho's eyes flickered open for Captain Park Jiho's eyes opened for just a moment before closing again. But in that brief instant, Dr. Velthak saw something that made his medical training seem worthless. The captain's eyes held the same predatory determination as Li Huan's. Even while unconscious and dying, the human was fighting. "He heard you," Dr. Velthak said in amazement. Li Huan nodded but did not smile. "Humans do not give up easily. My captain will return to us when he is ready." Dr. Velthak watched as Li Huan reached into his medical bag and pulled out a small injector. Without hesitation, the human medic pressed it against his own neck and activated it. The device hissed as it released chemicals into his bloodstream. "What are you doing?" Dr. Velthak demanded. "Stimulants," Li Huan replied calmly. "I have been using them for 3 days to stay awake. My body wants to sleep, but sleep is not acceptable while my captain needs me." The alien doctor stared in horror. "Those chemicals will damage your nervous system. Continuous use for 3 days could cause permanent brain damage or death. Li Huan looked at him with eyes that seemed ancient despite his young face. Doctor, you still do not understand. My captain's life is worth more than my brain. His survival is worth more than my survival. This is what humans do. This is madness, Dr. Veltak protested. You are destroying yourself for someone who may not even survive. No. Li Huan's voice became hard as steel. This is loyalty. This is pack behavior. This is why other species fear us. The words hit Dr. Veltak like a physical blow. He realized that he was not treating a patient and his concerned friend. He was observing apex predators in their natural element, using every weapon at their disposal to hunt down death. The station's AI system chimed with an incoming message. Dr. Veltak, please report to communications. Priority message from Galactic Medical Council. Dr. Veltak reluctantly left the medical bay and made his way to the communications center. The holographic image of Dr. Xanthus, head of the medical council, appeared before him. The elderly Centaurian's 4 eyes showed deep concern. Veltak, I understand you have humans aboard your station. I am calling to warn you about their behavior patterns. Warn me about what exactly? Dr. Xanthus leaned forward in his chair. We have been studying human medical cases across the galaxy. What we have discovered is deeply troubling. Humans do not follow normal biological rules when fighting for survival. I am beginning to see that myself. It goes far beyond what you have witnessed. When humans believe pack members are threatened, they enter a state we call predatory persistence. Their bodies stop following normal limits. Pain tolerance increases by several 100%. They can function without sleep for weeks. Most frightening of all, they seem to transfer life force between pack members. Dr. Veltak felt his blood turn cold. Transfer life force? That is impossible. We thought so too. But we have documented cases where dying humans recovered impossible amounts of strength when other humans refused to let them die. It appears that human willpower can actually influence biological processes in ways we do not understand. The communication screen flickered as Dr. Xanthus consulted his notes. There is something else, Veltak. We believe humans are not just another intelligent species. They may be the galaxy's first true persistence predators to achieve space travel. What does that mean? On their homeworld, humans evolved as hunters who could chase prey for days without stopping. They did not rely on speed or strength. They relied on the absolute refusal to give up. They would follow their prey until it collapsed from exhaustion, then move in for the kill. Dr. Veltak thought about Li Huan's behavior over the past few days. The human had been chasing death like prey, refusing to let it escape with his captain. They have turned those same hunting instincts toward death itself. Dr. Xanthus continued. When a human pack member is dying, the others enter hunting mode. They stalk death with the same persistence their ancestors used to hunt animals across continents. That would explain their impossible survival rates. Exactly. But Veltak, there is something more disturbing. We believe humans may actually be capable of intimidating death itself. Their refusal to accept defeat may actually change the odds of survival through mechanisms we cannot understand. Dr. Veltak returned to the medical bay with his mind reeling. He found Li Huan exactly where he had left him, standing guard over his captain like a sentinel. But now the alien doctor saw him differently. Li Huan was not a concerned friend or dedicated medic. He was an apex predator who had identified death as a threat to his pack. You are hunting death, Dr. Veltak said quietly. Li Huan turned to look at him. Yes, and I will not let it escape with my captain. How long will you continue this hunt? As long as necessary. Humans do not know how to quit. Dr. Veltak checked Captain Park Jiho's vital signs again. Impossibly, they had improved slightly over the past hour. Not because of medical treatment, but because Li Huan was refusing to let his captain die. The human medic was using sheer willpower to keep death at bay. In my culture, Dr. Veltak said slowly, death is accepted as the natural end of life. We make patients comfortable and allow them to pass peacefully. Li Huan's eyes blazed with an intensity that made the alien doctor step backward. In human culture, death is the enemy. We fight it with everything we have. We hunt it down and defeat it. We make it run in fear. Dr. Velthak realized he was witnessing the most terrifying aspect of human nature. They had evolved as persistence, predators, and they had never stopped hunting. They had simply chosen bigger prey. They were hunting death itself. The docking bay alarm sounded again as another ship approached Sanctuary Prime. Dr. Velthak checked the identification codes and felt his stomach turn cold. It was another human vessel, the cargo ship Dancing Star. "More humans are coming, Nurse," Quilon reported nervously. "3 life signs aboard." Dr. Velthak watched through the viewing window as the second human ship docked perfectly despite the urgency of their arrival. The airlock opened and 3 more humans emerged. They moved with the same predatory grace he had observed in Li Huan. But there was something different about them. They moved like a coordinated hunting pack. The first human through the airlock was a woman with short black hair and calm dark eyes. She wore the uniform of a ship engineer, but her posture screamed danger. Behind her came 2 men, one tall and lean, the other shorter but powerfully built. All 3 scanned their surroundings with the alertness of hunters entering unfamiliar territory. "I am Kim Nari," the woman said in perfect galactic standard. "We received Li Huan's emergency transmission. Where is our captain?" Dr. Velthak noticed that she did not ask if Captain Park Jiho was alive. She assumed he was because Li Huan had been taking care of him. The level of trust and certainty in her voice was unsettling. "Your captain is in critical condition," Dr. Velthak replied carefully. "We are doing everything possible." Kim Nari's expression did not change, but something shifted in her eyes. "You said you are doing everything possible. That suggests you believe he might die. Humans do not accept that possibility." The 2 men behind her spread out slightly, taking positions that gave them clear views of all exits. Dr. Velthak realized they were not just visiting their injured captain. They were establishing a defensive perimeter around their pack member. "Please, follow me to the medical bay," Dr. Velthak said as they walked through the station corridors. Dr. Velthak observed how the 3 humans moved. They communicated without speaking, using subtle gestures and glances to coordinate their positions. When they encountered other alien staff members, the humans acknowledged them politely, but never let their guard down. "I am Cho Hyun," the tall man introduced himself. "Navigation officer, this is Kang Minho, our communications specialist." "How long has Captain Park been unconscious?" Kim Nari asked. 4 days now. Li Huan has not left his side." Kim Nari nodded as if this was exactly what she expected. "Li Huan is our medical officer, but more importantly, he is the captain's closest friend. He will not allow death to take our leader." They entered the medical bay to find Li Huan exactly where Dr. Velthak had left him. The human medic looked terrible. His skin was pale, his hands shook from stimulant abuse, and his eyes were bloodshot from days without sleep. But when he saw his crewmates, his face lit up with relief. "The others are safe," Li Huan said to the unconscious captain. Kim Nari brought Cho Hyun and Kang Minho. "The pack is together now." Dr. Velthak watched in fascination as the 3 new arrivals smoothly integrated into Li Huan's vigil. Kim Nari checked the captain's vital signs with the competence of a trained medic. Cho Hyun positioned himself where he could monitor the medical bay entrance. Kang Minho began examining the alien medical equipment with suspicious eyes. "You need rest," Kim Nari told Li Huan. "I will watch the captain while you sleep." "I cannot sleep. Not while he is fighting for his life. You will sleep for 2 hours. I will wake you if anything changes. This is not a request." Dr. Velthak expected Li Huan to argue, but instead the exhausted medic nodded and moved to a chair in the corner. He was asleep within seconds, but even in sleep he remained partially alert. His body was positioned so he could see the captain's medical table. Kim Nari took over Li Huan's position beside Captain Park Jiho. She began speaking to the unconscious man in Korean, her voice low and soothing. Dr. Velthak did not understand, the language, but he could hear the love and determination in her tone. "What is she saying?" Dr. Velthak asked Cho Hyun. "She is telling him about the cargo we carry, medical supplies for Kepler Colony. She is reminding him that 5,000 people are depending on us to complete the mission." "She believes he can hear her?" Kang Minho answered from his position by the equipment monitors. "Humans in critical condition often report hearing conversations around them. We do not take chances. We assume he can hear everything." Dr. Velthak began to understand the terrifying efficiency of human pack behavior. They had seamlessly divided responsibilities without discussion. Kim Nari provided emotional support to the captain. Cho Hyun maintained security. Kang Minho monitored the medical systems. Li Huan rested so he could return to duty refreshed. "You work together like a military unit," Dr. Velthak observed. "We are a cargo crew," Kim Nari replied, without taking her eyes off the captain. "But humans have strong pack instincts. When one of us is threatened, we all respond." "This level of coordination is remarkable." Cho Hyun smiled, but there was no warmth in the expression. "Doctor, you have been treating humans as individual patients. That is your first mistake. We are pack animals. When you threaten one of us, you threaten all of us. When you try to take one of us, you must go through all of us." Dr. Velthak felt another chill run down his spine. "You speak as if death is a conscious enemy. Is it not?" Kang Minho asked. "Death stalks us constantly, looking for weakness. It waits for us to be alone and vulnerable, but we are never alone. We hunt in packs." The medical monitors began showing slight improvements in Captain Park Ji-ho's condition. His heart rate became more regular, his brain activity increased, his breathing deepened and became more natural. "He knows the pack is here," Kim Nari said, with satisfaction. "He can feel our presence. Death cannot take him while we are all watching." Dr. Velthak realized he was observing something that challenged everything he thought he knew about medicine and biology. The humans were not just hoping for their captain's recovery. They were actively preventing his death through sheer force of collective will. After 2 hours, Li Huan woke up immediately and returned to his post. Kim Nari moved to a support position without being asked. The rotation continued seamlessly, each human taking turns to rest while others maintained the vigil. "How long will you continue this?" Dr. Velthak asked. "Until our captain opens his eyes and tells us to stop," Cho Hyun replied. "Or until we join him in death. Humans do not abandon pack members." Dr. Velthak looked at the 4 humans surrounding their dying captain and felt true fear for the first time in his long life. They were not hoping for a miracle. They were not praying to gods or relying on advanced medicine. They were hunting death like the apex predators they had always been. On the 7th day, Captain Park Ji-ho opened his eyes. Dr. Velthak was running routine scans when the change occurred. One moment the captain was unconscious and barely breathing. The next moment his eyes snapped open with the clarity of someone who had never been near death at all. "Report," Captain Park Ji-ho said in a voice that was weak but completely lucid. Li Huan leaned forward, tears streaming down his face. "Captain, you have been unconscious for 7 days. We are aboard Sanctuary Prime Medical Station. The cargo is secure." Captain Park Ji-ho tried to sit up, but his body was still too weak. Instead, he focused on his crew members who had gathered around his bed. "The supplies for Kepler Colony?" "Safe, Captain," Kim Nari reported. "We protected the cargo and waited for you to return to us." Dr. Velthak watched in amazement as the captain's vital signs continued to improve by the minute. This was not a gradual recovery from critical injuries. This was a human predator returning from a hunt, victorious, and ready to resume his responsibilities. "How many colonists are waiting?" Captain Park Ji-ho asked. 5,000, Cho Hyun answered. "The plague has been spreading for 2 weeks. They need the medicine soon." The captain's eyes hardened with determination. "Then we do not have time to waste. Doctor, how soon can I be released?" Dr. Velthak stared at him in disbelief. "Captain, you have been critically injured. You need weeks of recovery time. Your organs barely function. Your brain has suffered severe trauma and your body has been through massive stress." Captain Park Ji-ho looked at the alien doctor with eyes that seemed to burn with inner fire. Doctor, 5,000 people are dying while I lie in this bed. How soon can I be released? This is medically impossible. You should not even be conscious, let alone thinking about leaving. You keep saying things are impossible, Li Huan interjected. But Captain Park Ji-ho is awake and talking. We told you that humans do not give up easily. Dr. Velthak ran another scan of the captain's condition. The results made no medical sense. Organs that had been failing were now functioning at minimal but stable levels. Brain swelling had reduced dramatically. Blood pressure had stabilized within acceptable ranges. How is this happening? Dr. Velthak asked himself. Because his pack refused to let him die. Kim Nari said simply. We held death back while his body repaired itself. Now he is ready to resume his duties. Captain Park Ji-ho managed to sit up with help from his crew. His movements were slow and careful, but his mind was sharp and focused. Doctor, I appreciate your care, but my crew needs their captain and 5,000 colonists need their medicine. You could die if you leave now, Dr. Velthak protested. I could die if I stay here while people are counting on me, the captain replied. Which death would have more meaning? Dr. Velthak realized he was witnessing the ultimate expression of human predatory behavior. Captain Park Ji-ho had not recovered from his injuries to save his own life. He had recovered because his pack needed him, and innocent people were depending on him. He had hunted death and defeated it not for selfish reasons, but to serve others. This is what makes humans the most feared species in the galaxy, Dr. Velthak thought to himself. They are persistence predators who have chosen to protect others instead of themselves. The captain's crew helped him stand. His legs shook with weakness, but his determination kept him upright. Doctor, please prepare our discharge papers. We have a mission to complete. Dr. Velthak looked at the 5 humans standing together in his medical bay. Li Huan, exhausted but victorious after his week-long battle against death. Kim Nari, calm and efficient as she supported her captain. Cho Hyun and Kang Minho, ready to follow their leader anywhere. And Captain Park Ji-ho himself, who had literally returned from the edge of death because people needed him. I cannot recommend this course of action, Dr. Velthak said formally. We do not need recommendations, Captain Park Ji-ho replied. We need discharge papers. Dr. Velthak prepared the medical documents with shaking hands. As he worked, he thought about what he had learned over the past week. Humans were not just another intelligent species trying to survive in a hostile galaxy. They were apex persistence predators who had turned their hunting instincts toward protecting and serving others. They hunted down death when it threatened their packmates. They stalked disease and suffering with the same relentless determination their ancestors had used to hunt mammoth across frozen continents. They refused to accept defeat, even when defeat seemed inevitable. Doctor, Captain Park Ji-ho said as his crew prepared to leave. You have saved my life. How can we repay this debt? Dr. Velthak looked at the human captain who should have been dead for days. Just promise me something. When you reach Kepler Colony, do not stop fighting until every person is saved. Captain Park Ji-ho smiled, and for the first time Dr. Velthak saw warmth instead of predatory intensity in human eyes. Doctor, we are humans. We do not know how to stop fighting. The 5 humans left Sanctuary Prime aboard their cargo ship. Dr. Velthak watched through the viewing window as they departed, carrying desperately needed medical supplies to a plague-stricken world. 3 weeks later, Dr. Velthak received a message from Kepler Colony. The plague had been defeated. Not a single colonist had died after the human medical team arrived. Captain Park Ji-ho and his crew had worked around the clock for 18 days straight, hunting down the disease with the same persistence they had used to defeat death itself. Dr. Velthak updated his medical records with a new entry. Species, human. Classification, apex persistence predators. Primary prey, death, disease, despair, and any threat to innocent life. Survival rate, impossible to calculate, as they refused to accept death as an outcome. He paused in his writing and added one final note. Recommendation: never attempt to take a human pack member. They will hunt you across the galaxy until you surrender their friend or until they die trying. They are the most dangerous predators in the universe, and their preferred prey is anyone who threatens those they protect. As Dr. Velthak finished his report, he realized that humans were not feared because they were violent or cruel. They were feared because they had evolved as persistence predators, and they had chosen to hunt down every form of suffering and injustice in the galaxy. Death was no longer the ultimate predator in the universe. Humans were.